Alright, so stream's up right now. Currently 0 viewers, but that doesn't really matter. Maybe. I don't know. But welcome to the stream. In the stream I'm just gonna be making some stuff and like answering some questions you guys might have. So yeah. I'm just gonna promote the stream a little bit. Alright. Yo, Conrad. Alright, so let's get into this. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start out with a general like render that I do on my Instagram and stuff. Something in that style. And if there's any questions or just anything Blender related, then you can ask. Might take me a little bit because I have to specifically look at the chat, but once I see your message I'll like answer it and stuff. So oh hey floof. Alright, so I don't know what I should do. I have a few ideas, but I don't know which one I'm gonna do. But first I'm going to do what I always do and get my human model that I use in like all of my renders, because that is like what I do. So we have this guy here. Alright, so we have this guy here. What do I want to do with him? Don't really know. I'm just gonna pose him real quick. Something like that, maybe? Alright, so we have him like that. Yes, it is a human. I kind of maybe want to go for like something similar to a render that I did a while back, where he has like a glass bowl on his head with like a metal ring around the edge with like lights on it and an oxygen tank. So I'm going to try to do that. So I'm going to start that off with a UV sphere. I'm going to bring it up and just kind of resize it to where it covers his head like that. Like that. And then what I'm going to do, I don't think I can scale that down anymore. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just box select these vertices down here and then delete those vertices. And then select these lines and bring them down a little bit. Maybe bring them in. something like that. This model is from a 3D site. It's like free3d.com, I think. If you look up like human base mesh or male base mesh, I'm sure you can find it. Basically, I download this model and use Mixmo's auto rigger to rig it. So, yeah. It's basically that. So I have this. I'm gonna go ahead and add a solidify modifier, so when I add the glass shader later, it looks better. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down, and then extrude the faces like that. Maybe give it a little bit of a bevel to where it's kind of like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade this smooth and then add an edge split modifier to kind of get rid of that little thing that goes on. Yeah. So we have this helmet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead. Oh, actually, I know an easier way to do this. I was about to do it in an insanely complicated way. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a glass BSDF. I'm gonna change the material name to helmet underscore glass. Oops. And then I'm going to add another material and just make this a normal metal material, not really add a texture. Then I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to move this up, assign that there, and just basically have that. So let me look in cycles right now. GPU. I think the metal applied. Yeah, it's applied. Alright, so now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the kind of oxygen tank thing on his back by just adding a cylinder and then scaling it down, scaling it up a little bit. I'm not going for this to be like a photorealistic oxygen tank or anything, just something that looks like it should be an oxygen tank. Kind of have it come up over here. And then I'm going to bevel it like so. And select this face, inset it, raise it up, and bevels that. And then I'm going to not shade smooth, shade flat. If I add an edge split modifier to this, that does not do anything. So we have this little oxygen tank thing. If I shade smooth, what if I had an edge split? There we go. See, I'm lazy, so I'm hoping that you're not going to see this in the final render. But if you do, then like I gotta go back and fix it. That's like painful, like, you know. So I'm just gonna move this a little bit to the side and then duplicate it, and then add another one. And then I'm just gonna basically add kind of like tubes coming off from it. So, let's say, kind of put it on the back here, and then just basically bring this over here, not that button, and just kind of put it here. Then change this a little bit to where it's not as weird looking. So something like that. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, I see. Let me go ahead and redo that then. So, let me get the shape right. Something like that, maybe. And then top and bottom, bevel. Like that. Then eye, up. Okay, well that works a lot better. I'm gonna go ahead and add an edge split to these. Apply. Thanks for that tip, Floof. Really helpful for the, you know, the spacious, or what am I saying? I don't know, but so we're just gonna have that, and let's give it maybe a thickness of like that. I'm just gonna duplicate this curve, put it on the other side, and kind of rotate. Where it's kind of like that, and I think that looks decent, because we're gonna only be seeing the front, so there's not any real point in putting a lot of detail in the back, so that's why these are just kind of here. Might want to move that like that, move that like that. So I think that's what we're gonna do there. Yeah, so let's go ahead and set up some lighting and some effects. So I might keep this, but I'm gonna hide it for now because I don't know if I'm gonna use it. But basically, here's how I do like my lighting in most of my renders. I add a plane and I scale it up to about like yay big, and I select these two over here, these two edges, and then just extrude them upwards. Then once I have that, I just give it a very dark gray material and then give it a really high roughness. And so I also turn the world to black so we don't have any extra light bleed through that I don't want to be there. Let me go ahead and get that light. So I'm going to maybe make this an orange light. Maybe. We're gonna see how that looks. Maybe. Or maybe, I have an idea. What we could do is we could try to use a point light in the glass. Maybe put that to like, just keep it at 10. Change the size to 0.15 and change it to blue. And then just kind of have that sitting here, maybe 0.1. Have that sitting here, and then have another one over here. And then once I have that, we can add the little halo that I do on like every render. So bevel 0.4. Let's kind of move that, and we can see how that looks. It's gonna be very light's gonna shine through the glass, but we're gonna try to fix that later. Oh, I forgot to get the halo on Emission Shader. Hi Ryan. So I'm gonna give this a blue Emission Shader with a strength of like 10. And so we have this right now. Gonna add that light. I'm gonna give this guy a glossier material too, by just decreasing the roughness. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So he has a glossier material now, or should. Does he? I think he does. So now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a volume with a cube and just kind of put that over our whole scene. give it a new material, disconnect it from the surface, and then add a principal volume with a density of like 0.05 or so. We can see how that looks. So let me get rid of the light. So we have this right now, and what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna add lights or an emission shader to these tubes. So let me add a emission shader and make it orange. Give it a strength of like 5, and then do the same thing over here. Sometimes I use subsurface scattering. Most of the time I don't though, because in my renders I don't really go for like a realistic human skin or something like that. I usually just kind of go with, I like my characters looking kind of mannequin-like, to where the character resembles a human figure, the character resembles a human in my art, but it's not an actual like human, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. So in some cases I'll use subsurface scattering, but a lot of the time I don't. So let me see how this looks right now. Okay, so that looks okay. So also what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and try to model a quick light bulb. I'm gonna try to model a quick light bulb. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this to 16 and change this to 8. That way we can model it easier. Faces. Bring it down. Bring it down. Okay, so that'll work as a very simple light bulb. I want to fill that and then inset it and bring it out to like here. Bevel it maybe. So that'll work as a very simple light bulb. And then what we can do is we can add a subdivision surface modifier and put it like yay big and shade smooth, and then just copy the glass material. I don't know if I want to make this just a full emission or if I just want it to have glass and then have stuff like that. So now what I'm gonna do is wrong axis. So the x-axis it is. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this on this guy, on his little thing going on right here. And I'm going to rotate these here in a little bit. I'm just going to kind of rotate these until they fit. The same thing to this guy over here. Bring it down a little bit. And then, actually, I think I'm gonna make these just emissions. So might make those a different color later, but that's what we have so far. So yeah, now what do I want to do with this guy? Not really sure what I want to do with this guy, but I'm gonna go ahead and set up a camera angle. Just kind of do that here. And then have my camera to where it's like this. And yeah. Also, for any of the people watching, because I have no idea how to do this, but it's probably really easy, but in the glass where my point lights are, you can see the actual like ball of light that comes from the point light. How do I make that to where it doesn't show that on the glass, but just shows like the light in it. Is there a way I can do that? Because I'm pretty sure there is, but I just don't know how to do it. Make this look a lot better if it was like that. So, if any of you know how to do that, then like please type it in chat, because that'd be very useful. I'm also going to do is I'm just going to do this the hardest way possible and just manually select these faces. And I'm going to go ahead and give this that metal material from before, but I'm going to give this a blue emission material. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then, whoops, give us that material, then just kind of do this, you know. Alright, and then just give it the emission material, sign. So now, or we should, there we go. So now we have that thing going on over there. Don't know at all, I'm just learning how we feel love with the nature of everything. Thank you. You're welcome. That was an old tutorial. I made that tutorial like, I think over a year ago. But it helped a lot of people, and I'm really glad for that. I'm really glad that like any of my tutorials at all can like help people learn some stuff about Blender, whether it's like the smallest thing that you didn't know, or whether it just like started your whole 3D art career. It's just like, it's amazing to me that that can happen, that I can do that to somebody. So thank you more than me. Like anybody that watches my stuff and like learns from it, you guys are amazing people. You guys like amazing people, promise you. But now what we can try to do is, let's say I hide this helmet real quick. What if I uncheck cast shadow? Will that do like anything? Does not, so we need to cast shadows. Don't know why that, I thought that would do something, but yeah, I'm not sure why. Maybe if I do something here. Huh. Use an emission object. Emission object to turn off the camera visibility for that off. I could try that actually. Let me go ahead and try that. So let me delete these for now. And let's just get a UV sphere or something, I don't know. Put one like right here. And put another like right here. And give these guys these emission shaders. And then turn off the camera. Ray visibility. And let's see. I did something wrong. Okay. Show me what's. Just, yeah. Huh. don't think that will do that. Let me try to once again hide this. Delete that. Delete that. Point light. And change this to 0.1. What if I just try to kind of hide it? Maybe that'll work. No idea though. So maybe something kind of like that. You will probably still be able to see a little bit of it. Also, these need to go up to the blue. Okay, I could do something with that. Let me select you, bring you down just a tad. Not you. Okay, so let me see if that looks any better. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. You can still see the light right here, but that's nowhere near as bad as it just being in the glass. So I think that's okay. Let me go ahead and just do this. Alright, so I think that is okay. Yeah. Alright, so any more ideas for this guy? Anything I should add? Because right now I don't really know anything else. I mean, I probably could if I thought about it for a while, but if there's any ideas or anything you guys like want on this character, then what I can do though is go ahead and work with this guy's nipple situation right here. So I'm just gonna go to sculpting and then smooth and just kind of smooth out this guy's nipples. Kind of like that. There we go. Now it's child friendly. Yeah. Alright, so basically we have this so far. Don't really know what else to add. Yeah. Yeah. What else could I add? Maybe some like little spheres kind of floating around him with like a white light or a white emission shader. Maybe. Let me go ahead and give this guy the emission shader. White. Maybe like 3. Maybe something like that. So, trying to think about what else I could do here. I wonder if I can just to make the oxygen tank a little bit more visible. Add some depth of field. I could add some depth of field, but what I do with depth of field is usually I don't add depth of field in my renders because I don't really need them, because the guy is already in focus and there's nothing in the background really, so I don't want that kind of depth of field. And I do all my post-processing in Photoshop, So I usually add a tilt shift blur to blur out certain parts of the image to kind of simulate a depth of field thing, because it looks better in my opinion. So I usually add that in Photoshop, but yeah, let me go ahead and change this to like 1250 or something. Go ahead and set this up for GPU rendering. Yeah, I think that is all we really need. For this. Maybe. Let me try some volumetrics. Don't know if it will look cool, but we can try it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set up like a plane right here, kind of rotate it like this. Oops. Let's kind of subdivide that about yay many times. Delete those faces, then add, I don't know, an area lamp. Then maybe give this a more like warm tone, 50 size, change it to like 5. And we can see if that even works. Doesn't work. Maybe if we change it to light. So adaptive samples. Whoops. Kind of. Let me try something here. Don't think that really does anything. Not a volume cube. I do have a volume cube. Right here. So. Anyway. Yeah. Alright, so I think I'm just gonna remove that and just keep this how it is right now. So yeah. So I think that this is ready to render like this. So what I'm going to do is I have all this set up already. So yeah, I have all this set up already, so I think I'm good to just save this as oxygen tank.blend, I guess, and then render it out. Oh, whoops, I have a light. Make sure I don't have anything hidden, and then render it again. So while this is rendering, we can just talk about some stuff like what's your favorite cereal, or like, I don't know, do you like turtles? I don't know, I'm just trying to pass the time, man. Might have to decrease the roughness of that glass, maybe. Frosted Flakes. That is a good, it's a good choice. See, honestly, my favorite cereal is Fruity Pebbles, but like, that's just me. So like, I know what I can try to do. Don't know if this will work, but we can try it. We can try it, and we can see if it will work. Glass. Let's see here. Let's go down. And plug this into the roughness. And I have no idea if you're gonna be able to see that, but we can try it anyway. Run this out again. It's fine. Your response can be delayed. Still here. Yeah, you can definitely see some of the imperfections, like here and like here and here. It just adds a little bit to the image, you know? Like having glass with like stuff all over it. Yeah, surface imperfections. Also, I'm monetized now. That's insane. That's like actually insane. Like, I don't know how to react to that. You can see them up here and here, but you can't see them over here. I wonder if that's a UV issue. let me see something here. UV editor. What if I try this? Smart UV project. Let's restart Blender. Save this. Yes, I use the Blender Steam version. Okay, it's not the end of the world, I promise. Maybe that worked. I have no idea. Maybe I just messed everything up. How long did it take to get here? Like, as in how long did it take to make this? Well, the stream's been going on for about 41 minutes. And I started pretty much when the stream started, so I guess around 41 minutes. Yeah, you can still see the surface imperfections up here. And kind of some right here, here. It is not the end. I'm also going to show how I post-process in Photoshop and stuff too, to like post on my Instagram, and like what I do with that. Still do not see any surface imperfections over here, which I don't really know why. I wonder if it's just because light isn't hitting it directly right there. That might be why, but I have no idea. So, this is probably going to be my last render of this one. Hopefully everything is okay. Then I'm going to throw this into Photoshop. Add some post-processing effects and stuff, like the dust I usually add. And we'll be on our merry way. First, I have to do some compositing stuff, like very small compositing stuff in Blender. Like, I'm talking like 2 nodes max. So, it's at visualformat._. That's my Instagram. So let me type it in chat. That is my Instagram tag. CUDA error. Wow, that's crazy. Let me make sure. I do. That's why. Right there. See, my 1050 has lower VRAM than my 1060. So, if I was just running around my 1060, it'd be fine. But since I have my 1052, it's running out of VRAM on my 1050 and causing that error. How long did it take to get monetized? A while. I started posting on my YouTube channel in February of 2019, and I hit 1,000 subscribers around January of 2020. And then from there, I had to hit 4,000 public watch hours in the last year. And I finally hit 4,000 watch hours. So I submitted my channel to get monetized, and they got back to me this morning, and they're like, "Hey, your channel has been accepted." Another CUDA error. Huh. I wonder why. No idea why I'm getting CUDA errors. Maybe it's because I have too many samples. It is a 1052 gig, and then I have a 1063 gig. My 1063 gig is obviously my main GPU. I mean, it's always possible. Like, thinking like that, you're never gonna get monetized. But when I started my channel, I never thought that I would pass 100 subs. And here I am at like, what, 1740, 1750? It's like, you never know what could happen. You never know what video everybody's gonna like, and you're gonna get you're gonna get a lot of views, and everybody's gonna subscribe to you. You never know if that's gonna happen. You never know, like, what your channel can go to. It's just, you just gotta keep going. So what's better in your opinion, 1054 gig one less speed or 1063 gig one more speed? Honestly, 1060 with less RAM, because VRAM doesn't affect performance unless it's being maxed out. So let's say you have a 1054 gig and a 1063 gig, but you're only playing a game that uses like 1.5 gigs of VRAM. You're not maxing it out on any of them. So that means that in that game, the 1060 is gonna be way better than the 1050. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you're doing something that requires more VRAM and you're not really caring about the speed of the graphics card itself, you just need that extra VRAM for a cheap price, yeah, then go for the 1054 gig. But if you're like playing games, or if you're like doing other stuff, then like, yeah, 1060. 17 subs, 1 year, and only 3 from actual recommendations and such. So, basically, to get past that problem, you need to find a way to get your video out there. And there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways you can advertise. For me, how I got my following and how I got people to notice my channel is I would post, I still do, post all my videos on the Blender subreddit. And so people on the subreddit will see those tutorials, and some people might think they're interesting, click on them, watch them, and some people might subscribe. And I just kept doing that, and I built up like a fan base, and I started getting recommended more to like on other people's channels, and I started getting more recommendations, and that's how I am where I am now. And it's hard. I'm not gonna sit here and say that just advertise and you'll get 1,000 subs, because that's not how that works. It's a slow process, it's a painful process. You're gonna think that you're gonna get nowhere, but you have to have patience and you have to want to get there. So yeah, and I'm extremely grateful because I've just started re-uploading on this channel after taking like a 2-month break, and I take breaks like that quite often on this channel actually, and there's reasons why I do that. The reason for this time was personal issues, and I got burnt out on making tutorials, and I didn't want to just keep making tutorials that didn't mean anything to anybody, that didn't really teach anything. So I waited about 2 months, and now I'm uploading stuff again. So And I'm really lucky because my channel was still growing when I didn't have anything uploaded. And that's luck. Like, I'm not going to say that I did something for that. I'm not going to say that I made something happen to where my channel was staying growing when I wasn't doing anything on the channel. That's just luck. Because not a lot of people can just not upload for 2 months and still rack in 200 subscribers a month and like 15k views. And I'm like, that blows my mind, really. And I'm not trying to like brag or anything. If that sounds like what I'm doing, I'm not trying to like brag and say like, oh, I can get 15k views without even uploading anything. No, I'm just saying that that's how it works. You can do that, or you can just have really bad luck and not get any views. It's like, it's whatever YouTube decides to do with your channel. And sometimes YouTube will promote it. Sometimes YouTube will just let it sit back and do nothing. So, like, you have all these Blender channels that make like the same content as me and like the same types of videos as me, but they have like anywhere from 50 to 100k subscribers, and I haven't even broke 2,000. And I'm still extremely thankful to be like, is it luck or pure skill? I don't know, man. But I'm still extremely thankful to be where I am right now. And even though I'm a small channel, I still have people who watch my videos, and I still have people that I can teach. So, it means a lot to me. Alright. Oh, I apologize if you hear dogs barking in the background. My dog's in the room, like I think they saw a cat or something. I don't know. Alright, so finally rendered. So what I'm going to do, the compositing tabs, I'm going to use nodes, bring this baby over here, and I'm going to hit fit. And then denoise node here. And then here we go there. My computer is not having it, man. Alright, I'm going to turn the size down a little bit here. Alright, so that is our image right now. And I'm going to go ahead and save this as oxygen mask.png. And on that note, I have to go take a bathroom break, so I will be right back. I'm back from the bathroom, ready to open Photoshop. So, Photoshop CC. Just gonna go ahead and open this. And basically what I do in here is just some, like, just post-processing effects. So now I have to find out where I wasn't there. It's probably in here. It's not there either. It's in here. It is. Okay, so first thing I do is I always lower the saturation of my renders to something like that, because I feel like if you have a lot of colors in a render in like art like I do, I feel like it takes away from the image. I feel like it's just weird having a ton of color and like art like mine. I don't know. But then I'm gonna add a color curve. Just kind of do this. adjust them slightly, and I think that's it for that. And then what I do is I go and then place embedded my main drive. I find my dust overlay, which is here. I had more than one dust overlays. Oops, why did that stretch? Basically, I place that over the entire image, and then I change it to lighten. Then I change the opacity to something like 10 or maybe 20. 20 seems good. Add a color curve, and then mask that. Bring them down a little bit. Bring those up. Mid-tones up. Then I go and add another dust filter, which is right here. And then just kind of add this here like that, and then do the same thing, lighten it, change opacity, something like 15 for this one, and then I add a color curve, mask it, and just kind of adjust these like that. And then last thing I do is I select the original layer and then add a tilt shift to it, bring it up to where I want to focus. Then I up the light. Okay. Then I have it like that, and that's pretty much it. I might need to adjust the saturation here a little bit more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I make one of my renders. So basically after this, what I do is I send the image to a private Discord server that only I'm in. Then I download the picture onto my phone, make some slight adjustments on my phone because it doesn't look the same on a phone that it does on a computer screen. So I make some adjustments to make it look better on a phone screen. And then I put it on Instagram, maybe put an Instagram filter on it to try to give it a little bit more pop. And then I post it to my Instagram account. And that's basically how I do everything. So, yeah. Any questions? If you guys have any, then you can ask. I'm just kind of sitting here. Discord doesn't usually compress it a lot, or noticeably much to me for some reason. I don't know. It's mainly Instagram that compresses my images, because if you look at all my images on a phone, they look fine. They look really good. And then you go on the web browser version of Instagram, and there's a whole bunch of noise, and they're distorted in some parts, and it's like, well, what just happened here? It's weird. I guess it just depends on the size of your image, maybe. I don't know. Because I know in a lot of compression algorithms, they compress the image more if the file size is bigger. So that might be it. I have no idea why it doesn't compress it as much for me. But if any of you have any questions or anything, this is gonna go on my Instagram a little bit later. But yeah, so now I'm just kind of sitting here, want to interact with you guys. Alright, so I have this made. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Because I have this guy, and I made him. What made me start Blender? I started Blender in July of 2018 because I wanted to make stuff for games and like 3D models and stuff. So I started learning modeling a little bit, and then I stopped until October 2018, where I followed the tutorial on how to make a nature scene with like a leaf on like a creek or something. And then after that I just kept following tutorials for a few months, and then I finally started making my own stuff without tutorials, and they weren't like extremely complicated and they weren't extremely good because I didn't really know anything about composition or color theory or anything like that. But over time, like watching other people make stuff and watching other people like do stuff and explain stuff, I started like getting more and more knowledge on stuff like that, like art theories and stuff. And I started taking inspiration from other artists on Instagram. Some are like Wigwar, Amire, or like Berlias, I guess Lafal, people like that. They make very similar stuff to me. That's where I draw my inspiration from, is them. So if you look at like my art and you look at like their art, you can see there's like my art resembles their art a lot in a lot of different ways. But I also don't just straight copy their art, you know? Like that's one thing people sometimes get wrong, is like when you like tell them to draw inspiration, it's like they'll make almost the exact same thing as the artist that they're trying to or artists that they're trying to inspire from. And I mean, that can be good, but like then they post it as their like complete own work, and even though it's not the exact image stolen, it's the same idea that is stolen. So all my art on my Instagram, everything I make has a meaning into it. Everything I make has a reason I made it. And so that's why I find art like so good, is you can make anything and you have a reason behind it, and people can try to interpret what you mean by the image, but everybody's gonna have a different interpretation of what you meant. And I like that because it's different for everybody, and that's why I like doing stuff I do. One thing I also want to talk about and mention right here is something that I call artistic hypnosis. And that's not an official term, I don't think. Maybe it is, but what I mean by that is when you make something and it turns out like really good, right? You're really proud of the render, but every other render and every other art piece you make beyond that stems from that render. So you're basically just taking the same idea over and over and just changing it up a little bit. And I'm guilty of this but especially happens when you have an artist block and where you can't think of another idea. You'll just take one of your old ideas and change it up, and there's nothing really wrong with that. But it's just like when every one of your renders looks the exact same as the last, that's when it gets a little tiring. And a good way to stop that and a good way to prevent that is to draw inspiration from other places than you usually do. No one tells you that you have to stick with the same artist and draw inspiration. You can go outside, look around, you can like look at the objects in your room. You can draw inspiration from pretty much everything and anything. And a bigger part of that is not to be afraid of thinking that you can't make something, that something is too complex, something is too hard to make or too hard to model or too hard to texture. You can do it. It's not as hard as you think. For modeling, all you have to do is just start with the basics, block out your model, block out all the little pieces. Well, don't add all the little pieces, block out all the big pieces, and then once you do that, add detail to the big pieces. Once you add detail to the big pieces, add the small pieces, add detail to the small pieces. And then texturing, what you can do if you have a model that needs to be textured, there are a lot of different ways to get textures. Textures.com, cc0textures.com. You can use Substance, Substance Painter, Substance Designer. You can make your own textures in Photoshop if you really need to. It's all what you want to do with your render, and it's not as hard as a lot of people think, and that's what discourages a lot of people from making really good art, is they think that they can't do it, or like they'll mess up and they'll get discouraged and then they won't try it again. But that's what you have to do, is you have to try again, you have to try again, you have to try again, until eventually you get it right and you get something that you're proud of. And I've done that a lot. I didn't just start making art and then just know how to make all these renders and how to make all the stuff that I make on my Instagram. No, I had to go through a lot of trial and error where I had renders that looked garbage and I was ashamed of even producing those things. But eventually I got back up, kept making stuff, and that's how I am where I am today. Make a horror scene or something scary. Huh. I could try to do a kind of foggy forest scene with pre-made assets. So, I'm gonna do that. Go ahead and nope. Delete this. Shite, plane, add plane. Plane. Huh. I don't know. Let's just subdivide this manually. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sculpt the landscape that I want. I'm not going to use the name of topology, but I'm also going to turn off symmetry. First you don't succeed, try again. Yes, that's literally what you have to do. You can't be amazing your first time. Nobody is. Nobody's amazing their first time. You see all these people, and like, I'm nowhere near amazing at art, and I'm nowhere near amazing at Blender, but I have a style, and I know what to do to make my renders fit my style. And that's an important part too, is finding your art style, because if you don't have a art style, you're just making random stuff. And an art style, if you want to be an artist and you are, it's different, because if you're just making little renders of different things that you find cool, that's fine. But if you're determined to be an actual artist and make art, I wouldn't say full time, but like as like your main hobby, then you have to find an art style. That's like really important. There's a few ways to find an art style. I made a video on it, but I'm gonna explain it here too. Basically, you have to find out what you like doing in art. You have to find out what you like making, and you have to find out why you like making it. And art, a lot of time, is just powered by emotion, and I put a lot of my emotions in my art, and that's how I do what I do. And all my art has a specific reason. And hold up, let me try to. I have no idea where this thing is. To files. OBJ, it's probably OBJ. But anyway, you have to find out what like you want to do, and nobody can really tell you that. So Trying to find where in the world. If you're talking about the landscape add-on, then I know, and I'm not using it for a reason. Let me try to find the trees that I used. I have to download it from my own video description. Forest resources. You gonna download? I don't even think I still have it on my computer. Your art style is robots. I see. You kind of post a lot of those. There's nothing wrong with that. There we go. Now I can download it. Forest resources. Let me extract these to my documents folder just because. Okay, so I have to append documents, trees and bushes, object, just append all these. Alright, so for the trees, I'm just going to place these. Just kind of place these around. See, my strategy for like forests is to just place trees. Just place trees wherever, whenever, however. Just keep placing trees and you'll be fine. Of course, that doesn't always work, but I'd like to think it does. So I'm going to just do this here. Just place these. This like whole pack can be found on Blend Swap. I'm just using this because I don't feel like making my own trees right now. I mean, you can. I can. It's not that hard, but just don't really feel like doing it, you know? It's just a matter of placing trees like everywhere. Over here in the bushes. And just kind of place. Just find a good twisted one and stick it in the focus point. I could. But I have an idea that might work. See, the thing is, everybody always bashes people for using like pre-made assets or pre-made models, but honestly, if you're doing like an environment like this, they're extremely helpful, like really helpful. And as long as you like buy them, or as long as they're Creative Commons and there's no copyright issues or like not or license issues, then you're fine. there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and select these and then select these. Just move these out of the way. So now we have this. So let's see if we can find a jack-o'-lantern 3D model. You can see Sketchfab. Sketchfab as new. Is this downloadable? It's not downloadable. Is this downloadable? It's not. So what we can do is I'm just going to download this model right here and extract it. There's another archive. And then extract these to my documents folder because that's the only folder that doesn't have a lot of stuff. And import obj documents pumpkin 5. So now with this, what I'm going to do is hopefully it will. See. Don't think that will work then. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Turbo Squid. Let's see if there's any on Turbo Squid. Price. Free. We can get this one here. Pump.fbx. Just convert to quads. Well, we're already getting another pumpkin model, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, this one is in my main drive. Imports FBX. Oh, well, that's not good. Oh, that was the boolean that was used to create this thing. Oh, whoops. Alright. So. Something like that. Now let's give this little top a nice greenish yellow. Let's give this a nice orange. And then we add a point light. Point 15. Let's give it like a, I don't know, 50. Oh yeah. What is casting light on the scene? What is casting light on the scene? I have no idea what in the world is casting light. Huh. Ah, that's what's casting light. I see. There we go. That's a lot better. Alright, so now we are going to just go over to cc0textures.com and then look up ground, and I think this one would be a good one. Go ahead and save this. Down to 36. Extract that to my documents folder, and then Smart UV project. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and texture this ground. Whoops, shader editor. Documents. Alright, now what I can do is I can go in append, documents, CG Geeks Nature Asset Pack. And then just basically white paint it all over here. Back here, all through here. And then just group these into a particle system. That. G, just name that grass. Whoops. Grass. And there we go. Dense fog. Yeah, I'm gonna add some fog later. Alright, so now what we can do is we can add a particle system, change it to hair, render as collection, instance collection, grass, object rotation, vertex groups, the group. And so now, also what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a transparent PNG of the moon and give it an emission shader. Save image as moon. File, import images planes. And maybe over here. There it is. The emission. Which way is it? So I want the camera angle to be kind of like here. So if I do that, we now have the moon up there, which is looking fine and dandy. So now what we can do is we can add some fog. Make sure it covers our entire scene. New, disconnect from the surface. Then volume, principal volume, 0.06. And let's see here. That is looking pretty spoopy. I would say so myself. I'm gonna go ahead and set up my camera angle. I don't have a camera, do I? Camera. See how this looks here. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm actually gonna move the moon a little bit more over here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this pumpkin, take this, go ahead and Control J to join them together. Whoops. Alright, so we got that now. Now all we need is some like candles. So, ooh, that was loud. So what I'm gonna do with candles is probably just download a candle model, honestly. Cause I don't feel like modeling a candle. That's all I'll do. Oh, it's a max. Can't download that one. Let me use this. Maybe. FBX. extract to my documents folder, file, import FBX. What in the world is this thing? Dear God. Let me go ahead and save this as like pumpkin or something. You know what? I'm just gonna bring these into our scene here. Oh God, what the hell? That's crazy. Origin to geometry. Sorry if I'm not talking as much. I'm just doing this. So sun's getting really late. No worries, dude. You can go to sleep. But light. Whoops. I'm just gonna use this flame model. Mission was like red glow was like 3. Set origin to geometry. Alright, bye Floof. I'll miss you. Right now I'm just basically adding these flames to the candles. See how it looks so far. It's looking pretty good. I think this needs to be bumped up like a lot. I think it is turning out pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna add a little tombstone to decorate the back. Maybe a few tombstones, I don't know. But we're gonna give this just let me see if I can find a concrete texture. No, I think we go with just a base gray texture. Just these, like that. I think it's looking pretty good so far. Always fun to watch. Thanks. What I might do is I might add a very low powered area lamp to the scene, just to give it a little bit more ambient light from the moon. So what if I hit it to like 50? Maybe 25. So I don't want it to be too bright. Yeah, I think 10 would be good. I also can't see these gravestones, so I'm going to pull them up. Alright, so here we are with this scene. I think it turned out pretty well. honestly. I really like it. Let me go ahead and duplicate this bush back here just so you don't see any of that. But I really like it. You know, I think it turned out pretty good. Let me change the sampling to 750. Performance to 256 by 256. Control S, and let's try to render it. So this is probably gonna take a while to render. Yeah, 14 minutes. So with this, I think I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna render this and also post it on my Instagram later. If you guys want to check it, it's in chat. Let me post it again though. My Instagram is, that's my Instagram tag. If you guys want to go follow me on there, you can also talk to me on there and everything. So thanks guys so much for tuning into the stream. Went really well actually. We did 2 projects, so I think that's a success. So thanks guys so much for watching the stream. Make sure to tune in, hit the bell notification so you guys get notifications for every one of my videos and live streams that I do. I will be doing more of these in the future, like making stuff and like talking to you guys. It's really fun. So thanks guys.